Welcome back to the channel, everybody. How you doing? How you doing? I just want to say I appreciate you guys being here. Today we're going to talk about Cormac McCarthy's 4 books that I read from him so far. I'm trying to slowly do videos like this where it's like ranking and discussion videos of authors who I've read a couple of their books, at least 4. I'm going to try and do that. I did an Emily Henry book a couple weeks ago, so Cormac McCarthy's next, and then Thomas Harris, I'm going to do his Hannibal Lecter series ranking and discussion as well. I just want to I think this would be a really fun video just to talk about authors who I really like and go from there. So with this one, we are going to talk about The Road, No Country for Old Men, All the Pretty Horses, and Blood Meridian. I'm going to go from the first book that I read to the last book I read and just do a little summarize of each one and just talk about what I liked about each one of them. And then we'll go to a ranking video, a ranking at the end, and just go from there and then talk about if I'm going to read more of Cormac McCarthy books after. Let's start off with The Road. So The Road is a post-apocalyptic world where we just know there's cannibals. What happened? Don't know. Do I like that? Kind of, yeah. I like how we are in a world where there's nothing happening. It's a world where everything's gone. We don't know what happened, and I kind of like how there's no answers. That's my problem, is a lot of books give us answers for this. And sometimes I just like how simple, where it's just like no answers. It's a father-son book, and you're just following the father and son through this whole book. And this is a really, really good book with a father-son relationship. Just fatherhood in general, I think this is a really good book. I think every soon-to-be dad or father needs to read this book. I think it's a really eye-opening thing of how much you truly cherish your kids. And I'm not even a father yet, but I'm like, wow. Would I reread this when I do have kids? Yeah, I probably will, because it's just so eye-opening of the way that the father will do anything for the son. We're going to talk about 2 scenes in this that was really important. I almost cried in one of them, and the other one was just, I almost cried in both of them, because they are really deep scenes that you just shook your head back. You're like, wow. Haymakers. First one is after the father kills a man to save his son. They are by a river, and the son is sitting there staring at his dad, and his dad is cleaning human parts off of his son's face. And his son is like, are we the good people? Are we still good? I think that's one of the morality of this book, is questioning, are we still good? Are we the good people? And his dad always tells him, we are the good people. We are. So when you read this book and that is what's going on in your head the whole time, it's just like, wow. It's just so deep that I'm just always blown away with that. So that scene really hit me hard. And the reason why it hit me hard is because it's just the willingness of what a dad would do for his child, and the horrors of just being a parent, of not wanting your kids to see these kind of things, but it's like, it's happening now. You are stuck seeing these kind of things now. So it's really just right in the chest. The second one is spoiler. This is a spoiler. Spoiler. Skip to the next part if you don't want to get spoiled. The dad's death. Oh man, that was tough. I'm not even a father, but it really hit me hard of the dad accepts that he is going to die, and the boy is now alone in a world full of cannibals. And it's so gut-wrenching. Every single thing this father was doing for his son, every single thing he wanted to do to protect him, he could not save his son. And his son has to walk in this world without his father. Oh man, that was really tough. That was a really, really, really tough way for this book. Anyways, we're going to get into a nice little different kind of book, and this is No Country for Old Men. This book is the definition of, well, No Country for Old Men. I really like the movie. I really like the book. This book is, well, it shows you just how young men, it kind of shows you that, this is going to be a weird way to define this book, but luck is a kind of the theme of this book in a way. You have characters that steal money, and then they want to return it because they're like, oh, well, this is bad. But guess what happens? Well, he goes back and he gets shot up instead. So now he's on a wild goose chase. And then you have the coin flip scene. There's just a lot to this book that I feel like is just a luck thing. The other theme of this book is just how age moves people along and violence just becomes worse the older you get. Because, of course, because you have Ed Tom Bell in this book that is an old sheriff, and he is seeing all this violence from Anton and Moss in this book that is happening. And there's parts where his chapters are, every time at the beginning of the chapter, it's talking about what he was seeing before, what he was dealing with when he was growing up compared to like what's going on now. And just the ultra violence of everything that's going on. I feel like this might be his most action-packed novel compared to his other books. I mean, Blood Meridian is just so violent, but this one is just action, if that makes sense. Out of the 4 of them, I would say this is his most action-packed one. But I just really like how the main character of this book is actually Ed Tom Bell, not the other characters. The other ones are, it's kind of like Ed Tom Bell is telling us the story of what's going on in the back. That's kind of how I'm like looking at it. Like, we are Ed Tom Bell, and the other 2, yes, we are seeing their POVs of everything that's going on, but they are just leading to chaos of what Ed Tom Bell talks about throughout this whole book, which I feel like that's the point. I could be totally wrong about this, and I would love it if someone comments and says, hey, you're totally wrong. This is actually the whole point of it. Let me know down below. All the Pretty Horses is one I did not expect to read for a theme of romance. I didn't think Cormac McCarthy was going to write a romance, and this is sort of a romance. There's 3 different parts of this book, and it's a journey. You have Grady, who wants to leave. He wants to still live on with the Texas Ranger life of what his family has always done. So then him and his friend go to Mexico, and the first part is them just going to Mexico. That's it. Second part, Grady falls in love. That's it for the second part. And on the third part, he returns home. That's it. Now I'm being very, very, very vague about the whole thing. This is something, a lot of these books, I don't really want to spoil them because they are really, really good. I think people should just read them. Ignore the punctuations. Ignore how he writes. That's just how the man writes. Ignore those. Read the deeper elements of these books and you'll just be a lot more happier. I'm telling you. But with All the Pretty Horses, I kind of like the theme of it's kind of like a romance. And Grady's a young man that is just learning everything. Learning about the world. Just growing as a character. He becomes, this is kind of like the hero's journey vibe. That's how I kind of look at it, is Grady starts off as just kind of like an innocent man where he's just wide-eyed to the world. He's stuck in one place. And then he grows as a character throughout this whole book, falls in love, sees death for the first time, goes to jail for the first time, learns how to grow and mature in that this is a really deep, dark world. And he's doing a lot of this alone. And I kind of like the element of him dealing with this and facing this on his own and not seeing anything happening, growing as a character. I kind of like those elements of this. So I did enjoy that book. I thought it was a lot different than the other 2. I did not know. None of these books besides No Country for Old Men. I did not know what any of these books were about besides No Country for Old Men. No Country for Old Men, I love the movie, but I did not watch the other movies or anything. I just went in there blind. So this book, I actually feel like is his I think this is his most tamed novel. I feel like if anyone wants to read Cormac McCarthy, I would recommend All the Pretty Horses. It's a really nice book. It's really, really good. It's really well written, and I loved it. The last one on here is Blood Meridian. I saved this one for last because I feel like I heard all these things about this book, so I didn't want to dip my toes into this being my first Cormac McCarthy book, because I'm like, well, if I don't like this one, I don't want to, read it. And I'm glad I did that. Because I feel like if this was my first book from him, I don't know if I would continue reading his books. Because I really liked Blood Meridian. I really did. But his previous 3 books made me dip my toes into going into Blood Meridian. Blood Meridian, ultra violent, has racism, has sexism, does a lot of essay to children and women, animal violence. It has every single thing in there that a lot of people are not going to want to read. And that's understandable. But I think the theme of this is how evil and vile humanity can truly be. And I think that's the point of this book. I could be totally wrong about this 100%, which is fine. I mean, if I get told, hey, you're wrong, that's fine. But that's kind of how I looked at this book. You have a main character, but you're kind of not following him the whole time, because there's times where he's just not there and you just keep reading because you're following the rest of these terrible people. And no one's good in this book. Like Grady from All the Pretty Horses would not survive with this group, because just the difference of characters at all. I would argue almost all these characters in his previous books just would not fit. Well, besides Anton, he'd probably fit right in with this group, but that's completely different. But with this book, the violence and everything I think it's just awakening of how depraved this world truly is in a lot of ways. That's kind of how I look at it. I do a whole video of Blood Meridian. I have reviews on all these books. Check them all out. I highly recommend it. So I guess one of my kind of discussions about this I wanted to bring up about these 4 books is I think the theme for all of them so far is humanity. The levels of humanity for each book goes, and I think it's a weird way to look at it. I think that's the truth though. He makes everything so grounded of how far humans will go for just about anything. Like the road, father-son. The father does not want to lose his humanity and does not want to become like a cannibal. His father has faith of humanity that they can get better. In No Country for Old Men, you have characters that are greedy and only thinking of themselves. All the Pretty Horses, adventurous, wide-eyed for humanity, thinking the world might be better. And you learn it's kind of not, but there's always a little bit of good in that bad. Blood Meridian, everything's terrible. That's kind of how I look at it. That's how I think the theme of all of these 4 books is humanity in general, just how humans are. That's kind of how I look at this. And I think that's a really fun way to think about this as a whole. And I really enjoy these books. For a ranking, it's really hard for me to say this is my favorite, this is my least favorite, but I will try it for all you guys. And honestly, before I tell you what my ranking is, my rating, they're all 5s. These are phenomenal books. These are absolutely phenomenal books. So there's that. They're all 5s. So let's get into the ranking. If I do a ranking, I would do No Country for Old Men as my least favorite. Still, it's a 5 out of 5. But this is out of these 4 books. Probably All the Pretty Horses, Blood Meridian, and then The Road. I think The Road still sticks with me till this day, and I read it like 6 months ago, and it still sticks with me till this day of how much I love that book. And it's just the way that he wrote father and son relationship is really good, and I just feel like I don't really see a lot of father-son relationships anymore, sadly. So seeing that was a real good thing, and I think it's a good positive masculinity that I feel like is slowly dying in our society now. So I was really happy to see that. If you guys made it to the end of the video, I do appreciate it. What did you guys think of my ranking and my discussion of Cormac McCarthy's 4 books? If you guys liked them, let me know down below which ones were your favorite. Have you read any of these books, or will you not read any of them? Do you like Cormac McCarthy, or do you not? I would love to know down below. Last but not least, make sure you guys stay safe, stay humble, and tell someone you love them. I'll see you guys in the next video. Stay weird.